Coverage of the 2011 Combine Performance Clinic is brought to you by Canola Watch. Free, unbiased, timely, and research focused.
Here we are at the Combine Clinic, Canola Council of Canada's Combine Clinic in Westlock, Alberta. It's July 19th, and I'm here with Darren Seehagel, who's the Product Support Manager with Martin Deerline John Deere Dealership. Darren, what are the top 3 general tips you would give growers when setting their combine for canola?
Well, the first tip I would say is you start with your cutting and feeding system. Very important how you present the material to the combine. Basically, you want to make sure that you've got your pickup height correct, your feeder house angle is correct, and strippers not set correctly, because it's very important how you present the material to the combine. So I'd start out with making sure, that's one of the importantest things, is making sure that you're presenting it properly to the combine. As you come into the combine, of course, the things that guys want to be checking for is separator body leaks. Again, identifying your leakage and your losses. Of course, setting the combine, no matter how you set the combine, if it's leaking underneath and you have those leaks, of course there's nothing you can do about changing that as you set the combine. What I recommend doing is, if you're going down the field and you start in the swath, I recommend stopping the machine, shutting it off, and then actually going underneath and actually physically crawling underneath the machine and checking to see what is on the ground. Again, you have to, there's different types of losses. There's losses at the pickup, there's losses from swathing the material, identifying what is on the ground. Those are losses that are out of your control. Then, of course, the guy gets into drop screening the machine, basically checking for losses in a drop screen, finding out what is actually coming out of the back of the combine. Balancing your shoe is huge on making the combine correct. I believe in using what I like to use is a 1x2 drop screen, because of course no combine throws it out all the way across. So you have to identify where the loss is. Is it on the left side? Is it on the right side? Is it in the center? If you have a drop screen that's the full width of the machine, yes, you do find out what's coming out of the whole machine. But basically, when you drop that screen and then you shake all that material out, you don't know where it came from. So I like to use a smaller screen so you can identify where the losses are. Loaded shutdown really helps you with that, getting the machine level, because your wind system doesn't adjust for one side or the other of the combine. You have to adjust that load levelly across the shoe.
How do you do a loaded shutdown?
What you do with a loaded shutdown is you go down the field, load the combine up, and as you've got her fully loaded, it's a quick process. You shut her off quickly, shut everything off, restart it, so that you can, because of course your turbo has been spooled up and that, so you can lubricate the turbo. Let the machine idle for a minute and a half, so everything cools down. Shut the machine off, and then go in and remove the panels and identify where the material is. Typically, a lot of times what you'll have is too much material on one side or the other of the combine, and again, what you're working to do is balance that shoe out, so that it's very easy to set the combine once your shoe is balanced. But when it's not balanced, if you've got more material on one side than the other, how do you adjust the wind system? You're sloughing on one side, blowing it out on the other. When you can get that machine loaded evenly, it's very easy to adjust.
And is this of particular concern for canola, or is this good advice for any small
That's good
grain?
advice for all crops, definitely. But again, every crop is a little bit different in how you adjust it.
Now, I wanted to ask you about the leaks. Now, if you're out there on the ground inspecting the leaks, is there a certain type of leak that you can find and okay, that's coming from this spot?
Yeah, common leaks are things like your tailings elevator doors and your clean grain elevator doors, because of course you open and close them, your stone trap door, and of course your transition area where it comes up the feeder house, because of course you have a hinged area. Everybody has that. Basically, you can be leaking there. Again, when you're trying to adjust for, a lot of times the leaks are physical leaks on the machine more so than adjustment leaks.
Now, not everyone has a brand new combine. Are there, I guess for one thing, are there leaks that could potentially happen even with a brand new machine? Or is this something you want to watch for, especially as machines get older?
Oh, well, as they get older, that can increase, but it can happen on new machines too. They're production made, You can have a seal that's folded along the sidewall or things like that, where it's leaking through there. Sometimes those leaks also show up. Those side sheet leaks are actually showing up from an improperly loaded combine. And what happens is that material, you've got material leaking there that really shouldn't be there. If the machine is set properly, that problem can. It's amazing how when you get the machine working right, how that problem can go away.
What should growers be doing now in preparation for the harvest season to make sure their combines are ready to prevent or limit losses?
Well, for limiting losses, basically, we have what we call green light inspections that we have for the off season for our customers to do on their combine. Our harvest window is getting smaller all the time, it seems. Weather and that cuts a guy back. Guys haven't got the affordability to have 2 or 3 days down with that machine down in the middle of harvest. Of course, if it doesn't break when it's in the shed, it breaks when you're using it. So the preventive maintenance, when we're doing green lights, we pull sieves and chaffers out, checking and inspecting those seals, and we can head a lot of those problems off before you hit the field. Preventive maintenance is a huge thing. Those checklists have got better and better as we go, because of course yearly, as we check through these machines, as they get more and more hours on them, we find new problems show up, and then we add them to those checklists to give added value in our green light services.
Any other final technical comments when it comes to losses in canola specifically?
Well, losses, I guess first and foremost, of course, we always like to talk about safety a little bit. Safety first. In the heat of where a guy gets going pretty hard, when you're checking around the machine, you have to be very careful. If you look at the size of the tires on this machine, they're not too forgiving. The guy operating the combine is not aware of the guy who's running around with the drop screen and that. In drop screening with the combine, there's some good guys have come out with some good systems now that you can actually drop screen right from the combine as the operator, which is great once you have your combine set and your shoe balanced. And again, my comments about the drop screen, the size of it, for the guy who's adjusting the combine to get the combine performing properly, you need that smaller drop screen so you can get everything synced up.
Yeah.
Once it's all synchronized up and you've got everything and it's loaded properly, the full length drop screen is great, because of course you're just talking about air adjustments then, basically air and wind adjustments and sieve adjustments once it's adjusted up.
If growers have further technical questions about John Deere combines, is step one reading the manual, or can they go to the dealership and get more technical advice?
Well, there is information in the manual, but in John Deere's defense with some of that, and all the manufacturers' defense with that, these machines work in so many different conditions in so many different countries and everything else. Everything's different a little, in different areas and that. So of course, and that's why all the parts are all bolt-on parts rather than welded on, because different conditions require different things. So really, your best source of information usually is your dealer, because of he's familiar with your local conditions and that.
Well, thanks, Darren.
You're welcome.
That was Darren Seehagel, Product Support Manager with Martin Deere Line John Deere Dealership.